Nothing to remember, man. 2025 was nothing to remember. Whether you had the worst year or not.
Yeah, don't really give a fuck what haters say. The only thing I'm thinking is to get some Gatorade. And just because I rap, look, I can say like Betty Wright. Look, fuck a extra Sprite, I'm needing more electrolytes. And that'll set the night, baby, yeah, I'm probably major. And yeah, you got me thirsty like I need some aquafina. Or maybe Jelly Peachy, you hit me to the core. You the main reason I be whipping to the store just to buy some cups and lots of shit that we can pour. Drowning in my pain, you can sip a little more. But goddamn now, you can see the pilot fly. If now these damn haters really need a fire hydrant. Life is a school and you better know your lesson. But goddamn dog, why you come out so aggressive? But listen here, homie, you niggas only sweating, stressing. I got this only question, tell me when you're sort of hydrated. You be acting thirsty when you're so dehydrated. You be acting thirsty when you're so dehydrated. You be acting thirsty when you're so dehydrated. Mr. Polyman, you might need a smoothie for your brain. You might need a soda for your heart. Cause y'all already toxic, leaving stains. And like you know you only made a mark on some dried up shit. Looking like a raisin or a prune for that pan. All your dudes got you washed up. And then you start to think about the past. Make you laugh, man, I bet your mama had to make your ass take a bath. Spend the future money, fuck about the gas that you had. That's just stay up in the safe. You ain't safe, so stay away. Man, you niggas so depressing. I don't really think your father knows. You bitches so depressing. I just think you need a water hose. You get an H for hating and you evens on the honor roll. Follow rainbow waters and you'll never find a pot of gold. Looking like a leprechaun, you know, in the face. I can see the greed when a demon get a taste. They out there wishing will to sip a drink and flip the change. They too stable in their life. They got payments by the night. Give them grace, they'll be alright. And tell them that they out of jail. Esoterically speaking, I don't think they pay their water bill. Blood all on your hands and been a while and you ain't wash them still. Esoteric parasite and that is why you probably ill. All up in your head, you hardly chill. Mardi Gras, haters only need some TLC and waterfalls. When you're so dehydrated, you be acting thirsty. When you're so dehydrated, you be acting thirsty. When you're so dehydrated, you be acting thirsty. When you're so dehydrated. Mr. Polyman, you're so dehydrated. You be acting thirsty. When you're so dehydrated. You be acting thirsty when you're so dehydrated. You be acting thirsty when you're so dehydrated. Mr. Polyman.
Yeah. I'm going to 2026 Thursday. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even talking about what y'all think. All that's changing. Even all the way to the word BITCH. We ain't going to look at that the same. Thursday, it's going to get more spiritual. You're going to start being like, I'm spiritually dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? Not that thirsty where, oh, I didn't hit the lottery. Oh, I didn't get my goal. I didn't get my dream business. I didn't get my relationship. Not that type of thing. Everything get ready. Everything changed. You already feel it. There's a lot of words y'all already used all the way down to cussing each other out. Family members and stuff. It don't even come across the same. Y'all don't react the same. Certain stuff that used to piss you off don't no more. Certain stuff you never known pissed you off before. Shit, extreme now. Anytime you experiencing some new, unfamiliar, your spirit in a new box with no covering, no example, you take things harder than what they actually is. You would think a small fish is a big guppy, goddamn hammer shark head fish. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. all kind of stuff. Hey, we going through a shift though. It's a beautiful one too. It's gonna feel like a death. Oh, a lot of y'all already felt it, especially if you've been going through your Saturn return. Yo, mughead, Barracuda, Angry Beaver. I like to stay monetized. I like that green little button on the side. Oh, I like that little green button on the side of you. That. I like the little world lit up green and stuff. You monkey, some gang, crick gang in New York or something like that. Shout out to Bobby Smurf. Don't get hit upside the head no more, man. Don't get hit upside the head no more. For the 2016, you know what I'm saying? 2026, you know what I'm saying? Figure out your brain not to get hit upside my head. And Minnesota, I'll be playing around with these spirits. You know what I'm saying? No matter what ethnicity you is, your spirits is affected by my people. Or some retarded colonists or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Either way, hey, be safe out there. Be safe. This is America's soil. A lot of things went down 300 years ago. A lot of things went down 300 years ago. And we're going to break this down. Now, there's a name for this. I don't want to get into all this because it's really ceremony practice and just honoring and stuff like that. But if you want to put it in a nutshell, pause no homo, you know what I'm saying? And that might not even survive in 2026, pause no homo, those terms, you know what I'm saying? We might change, everything on change, but for the most part, right, every 14 generations we go through the complete washing machine cycle, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be half and half, you know what I'm saying? So when you thinking in one aspect, right, what by 120, 130 to 100, pushing 150 years and things of that nature, right? Because you know we go through a cycle like the 360 and things, but for the most part, you know, it's about three to 6 to 9. We always experience that. Now, for the most part, before we even get deep into this, you might want to say, well, we get ready to get into a pseudo philosophical aspect of it or whatever the case may be. All right, that may be fine. But look, check this out. People been keeping writing down history about things that was important and stuff like that. So I ain't do it, but for the most part, I guarantee you could do it yourself. I don't have to because I understand life. This happens in plants. This happens in animals and evolution. Creation, mutation, evolution. This is a mechanism beyond whatever you're trying to get into or whatever the case may be. But let's say if you do want to be a Google scholar or whatever the case, I guarantee start from now, go 300 years ago, start from then, go 300 years ago, start from then, go 300 years ago. You're going to see there's something with 300 years where a big change. It don't be in between. You know what I'm saying? It always be the 3 to 6 to 9 to 3 to 6. That's a cycle, yogi year, whatever you want to call it and stuff. And that I can get deep into the spectrums because here's the thing. On a micro scale, we be experiencing the sun in different pockets. But on a macro scale, the sun be in a specific pocket for that whole little cycle alone. So we just getting minor same ramifications. So for you to get a microcycle, there's cycles within cycles of the sun position itself. There's times that the sun was in a more distant 24 hours throughout the day and throughout all those years, all the way up to like 27 to 29 years and things of that nature, that, pardon me, that the sun be in a certain distance itself. And we get to see a micro version of that position when the sun is in the beginning of the year, Aries, spring, when it's getting ready to transition into fall, when it's getting ready to transition into winter and things of that nature, and transition into summer, if I skip that one. But for the most part, we get to see these different pockets play out in a more micro pocket where we just could see it transition into these things, but then we can see these 4 pockets actually being played out globally also, and things of that nature when it comes into the sun position as a whole. So there's a time that the sun that starts off the beginning of spring, it's there for a whole 27 to 29 years. You know what I'm saying? Then it's one that's in a circumstance where it gets into that summertime pocket, that Cancer pocket, and it's there for a whole goddamn. Right now we ain't in the winter when we in a fall. We like get ready to get in like the middle of fall and get ready to get into the winter and things of that nature. So the sun is in like the Western Hemisphere pocket, right? So this is like we're experiencing some cleanup from a transition. So for the most part, to make it simple, all things that was created 14 generations ago was the starting point, but 300 years ago, everything that was created is now going through a burnout. So that means all ideologies. So that comes with the jokes. That comes with the way we was dealing with our relationships. That goes with the way we was conducting our social networking. All of these things is going through a burnout, right? You can't even use the old ones if you wanted to. And we've been kind of talking about this since 2022 and 2016 and things of that nature. Especially when thing was floating in the air and stuff like that, and everybody had to sit on their little behind and become content creators, even when they ain't want to, but it was nothing to do. But at the same, everybody had to wear the mask. But at the same time, we're now at a complete flush in. This ain't got nothing to do with no age of Aquarius, nothing somebody else calculated, somebody else new year that we all celebrating right now, the new year of Saturn and Sun. Is the Capricorn new, because the four pockets you got Aries, New Year of spring, New Year of summer, Cancer, New Year of fall, Libra, New Year of winter. If you want to look at it on a micro scale, things of that nature, not just because these things is really just processes. You really ain't supposed to look at one or the other, because then you will get in which more broader scale what was the beginning, and then you have to go broader than spring and just understand what beginnings mean, and understand what life mean, and then understand what deterioration mean, and understand what fall or something going through a transition or death mean. And that goes, and you can see that cycle playing out in many different ways, even if you experiencing all these micro ways and macro ways just in spring or just in summer. You see what I'm saying? So we're just witnessing something play out in many different spectrums, but the essence of it itself is on its own. You know what I'm saying? We just have, for an example, if you had children, but your essence, it be like a piece of your children and things of that nature, you still something on your own though. You saying you still something on your own. So it ain't that you're gonna lift your elbow and your child gonna lift their elbow because you lift your elbow. No, you something on your own or whatever like that. So look at that and separate it from the physical flesh and look at it like the essence of something. The essence of something is like you having the attribute and the ability. Doesn't necessarily mean the essence of it, when it does it, you do it. And it has to float down and tell you or something like that. So if the essence lift his elbow, you lift your elbow at the same time. No, the essence is the concept of being able to lift an elbow. So you lift your elbow when you do it and someone else can lift it. And let's switch the elbow to a bias or something like that. It could be us being able to decipher what was negative or positive, and if you in sync and relatable or not. And therefore life and God teach you how to construct, how to move your elbow. Because anytime you move your elbow, somebody get a knot on their head, somebody go to jail, you go to jail, something end up missing in a convenience store or something like that. So it's like then other people move their elbow, they end up being professional volleyball players if they're female, professional football players. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving y'all ideas on how to understand stuff for y'all trying to think stuff pseudo. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna get into the etiquettes. We're gonna get into the etiquettes for y'all spend out, because this goes into anything, especially if you involved in business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. You know what I'm saying? Politics, especially if you into these things, because you need to know what you may have already been experiencing, especially when it comes to entertainment and politics and religion. Business could vary, because business is really always backed and supported by bargain and exchange. So it doesn't matter how we're doing, what we replace, what we're bargaining and exchanging with. Bargaining and exchange is always going to be a thing. When you're amongst different people, ethnic groups, races, bargaining and exchange is always something somebody know how to do that someone else don't know how to do. And that's how we are. So that may be updated. Here's the thing though. If any of those business tactics tied to the extremities that's being transformed right now, like entertainment, religion, politics, it's going to experience the same energy. So let's say you in something and you made a business, but it got a large percentage scale of maybe a religious practice. This is a Christian business, or this is a Muslim business, a Hebrew Israelite business. No matter how good the toilet paper is, that itself may not resonate. You see what I'm saying? So you have to look at it like that. It ain't your business. It's just what you tied your business to. And what you tied your business to is going through an extremity. We're also going to be breaking down the full moon in Cancer too. But it's going through it, or the bear. But not the bear, but the salmon. But it's going to be going through an extremity and things of that nature. It might be out of salmon. I think Leo the salmon. But they're made up too. Anything that you see during this particular time, or whatever the season, that's what you call it, animism, or however the case. But for the most part, it ain't necessarily your business itself. It's what you attaching it to. So be careful of attaching your business to an extreme bias. You know what I'm saying? Even if the bias is like swept up under the rug or behind the curtain or something like that. Try your best to separate your business. This was one of the reasons why once upon a time they had to separate church from the Constitution. And I'm not to say it's the same reason and why it had to be the same outcome, but it's just the same type of situations may play out if you don't understand. And people had to sit around at a round table to make that make sense for us to be here today in a more peaceful society and social networking. So you have to be careful with tying too much. It doesn't even have to necessarily deal with religion. There's too much of a bias because the here's the thing. Anytime the spirit is going through a shift, the first bodies we're making is the mental bodies before the adrenaline and the organs that we're currently and get ready to make new ones as glorified bodies and stuff like that. So the flesh is not the main importance. And it doesn't matter how much you make something make sense, tying it to something that we created in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s until now, 21st century, right? It's still not going to make a person feel like it makes sense for them to come out their pocket or for them to resonate with it or to be in that chapel, that church, to listen to what you're saying or that street corner once they walk outside the bar or however the case may be, right? Something's not going to resonate with the spirit, right? The spirit rather not. It's going to be more into a space of not giving you the satisfaction type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to get too lost because you might have your own ego and pride hurt and you might be thinking that you're not getting your 1-2 going on in this new time, and it may be having something to do with what you practice behind closed doors. Every spirit get to see synchronized and relatable energy through all filtering systems, especially if you got a miscellaneous belief. If you got a miscellaneous belief, that alone, a person don't have to see it. Their spirit will resonate with it because your belief come with a certain action and a practice. And here's the thing. Let's say Hebrew Israelite, right? A person don't even have to know you're that, but it's so many practices that been played out as fraud, grifter, scammer, and things of that nature that a person even sensing that doesn't matter if you're practicing it better than another Hebrew Israelite. They're not going to get your toilet paper because they spirit going to tell them that you don't got the right energy. You know what I'm saying? The energy. They ain't going to know what word to use. We're going to have to start creating new words because it ain't going to be energy, but that's the only words we're going to start having to use too. Everything going to be more predicated. And people who not really into thoughts and feelings and calling that what's vibe and that condensing into the physical, not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know how to get your 1-2 together, even if you got more money than someone. You're going to find your money. You're going to find yourself using your money to crash out. And it's really your spirit trying to make you experience real life again. It just so happens, it don't have nothing to do with money. It just so happens that people who may not have as much money as rich people, by default, have more of a regular life. So you may see that as the only example and crash out in areas you really don't have to crash out and stuff like that. We've seen many examples of that previously too. And hopefully you streamers don't start getting in that pocket and things of that nature, because you're really going to start looking at yourself in the mirror and see what you're actually good at. And the money that you obtain, you're going to see that what you're actually being used for to get it doesn't matter. And once you start to use it for things that you want to start to make up matter, you may not have a sufficient ground basis on what matters. So either that's going to crash out, or if you do find a sufficient manner, your handler are going to start taking it away from you because there's going to be some stuff that ain't got nothing to do with them. So at some point, you're going to be going through a realization, if you haven't already, through 2025. Getting into the detail of people with regular lives and celebrities, a lot of people been going through the worst year of their life in 2025. And I don't want to get into no yearly thing because we know years is created by men and things of that nature. But there is a such thing as cycle and keeping up that, so that do correlate to a procedure when we want to talk about numerology, gematria, and stuff like that. But you have to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, for an example, a lot of y'all like, yeah. Spring, that's when things start to grow again. But you right now getting ready to make a New Year resolution, and this is not the new year. You know what I'm saying? So this is someone else's concept of a new year. They worship the new winter season, the sun being in that position and things of that nature. So it's, you kind of, 10 to 9 months late of making a New Year resolution or whatever the case may be or whatever, but you made it in the 10th month. You find yourself making a New Year resolution and then 10 months away from the New Year. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you know what I'm saying? Someone else getting that money. Someone else getting that cheese. You just working hard. But other than that, you got to peep game. Not to get too much in that. I just want to help everybody understand and get your mind right so you can understand where I'm coming from. So things I start to point to, you know that it stands on things. This disclaimer right here that I'm breaking down, stuff that you could look at already, you going through in your regular life already, and you could piggyback off of. Everybody may not have the worst year, but I guarantee there was things that you couldn't get away with. And I'm not talking about government wise or whatever. I'm just talking about how you was getting your 1-2. It was certain ways that you was getting into certain doorways and stuff like that. 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021 that you wasn't in 2025, regardless of if we had the social distance or not. And you can see that in little mini instances and stuff. As far as what we've been going through, and then if you want to blame certain things, I mean you can, but I want you to know these individuals been going through these things too. So let's say if you want to blame like government and politics and stuff like that, and people involved in that. That's half of the battle. That's a small piece. The stuff I'm talking about, all of us been going through, them included. No one is exempt. Everybody been going through some deep realization, but not in the realization like, oh, I'm awakened to life. Oh, I'm a hippie. Maybe I need some weed. No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. It's even things that you've been having that been working that somehow don't work no more in some way, shape, or form. Mental constructs and stuff like that. The way you get along with people, the way and things you can't explain, but it's inevitable that you've been experiencing, and that's gonna have a snowball effect into the things that we actually are interacting with and stuff like that. To the point that we're going back to normal. So this is a 14 generation washing machine cycle, and half and half. So even when it gets into mixture of people and things of that nature, like I told y'all, a mixed person or throughout a lineage only survives one generation, 1.5 generation or things of that nature. And things go out to like a flush out system. You see what I'm saying? For an example, a lot of people want to say that's pseudo and stuff, right? Okay, is Drake's son black, or do Drake's son just got whatever y'all call African American in them? You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. You see what I'm talking about in real time that never left real time. Now this live stream ain't about this. It's just last time I made an example of Carmelo Anthony. I think this one is a better example because it popped in my head. Drake and his son and his dad.
Drake, his son Adonis, and his father Dennis Graham are frequently, especially recently,
now look,
sharing photos and
dad
videos
black.
that show their close family bond,
now,
including
since
Adonis
his
rapping
dad,
and showing affection for his
all right,
grandfather.
ho. Now his dad black, right? His mother is white, right? So the child can only be mixed. Drake ain't a new ethnicity. He can only be mixed, right? Now, one flushes out the other. Not for everybody, right? It flushes out. In Drake's case, he took more of the white side, right? So Drake had a child, right? So the child went with more of the ethnicity other than that, being more of the phenotype. So he's white mixed with black, not black mixed with white. Now you could be white and black person have a child, and a child be more of the phenotype of black. So it'd be black mixed with white. But this is not a new race. It's not no new how y'all trying to make Mexicans and stuff, right? Because Mexicans not either. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have to understand these things. But now, if the same thing Drake did is the same thing his son gonna do. See what I'm saying? So is you gonna say his son black? No, it's just the washing machine cycle. That's how God made it. That's how God made it. So Drake is the mixed that only lasts one generation or 1.5. And in his case, he took so much of his mother, it's only one. So after him, that's it. His son girlfriend, whatever. Even if his son was to go with another black person, it's the percentage scale. It's all percentage scale. He just 80. He 80, 90. So it still would take about 2 generations, and then but after 1.5, it flushes out. That's everybody. Now, when we go through a 14-year washing machine cycle, that's where we at now. You know what I'm saying? So we're going through a 14 generation washing machine cycle. So it goes beyond that. It goes with the mental construct. The mental is what's bending in to become the flesh. So it's becoming our archetype too. We get ready to be some new concepts of humans too. So keep an eye on the new babies that's coming. and things of that nature. Now, the only thing that may keep it docile a little bit is due to the fact of health, like the stuff that y'all eat and y'all lack of exercising and stuff like that. But other than that, the spirits on this washing machine cycle, such as yourself, is still coming back into the first consciousness, the sunlight, cloud, the water, and then everybody going back into their relative circumstances and situations again, and we're going back to the normal way of thinking. So every 300 years, we go back to a normal way of thinking to expand on it. So everything we create, we can either make extreme GMO or we can make more beneficial natural things. So that means technology and GMO can still be here, but it's supposed to support the natural. The unnatural supposed to support the natural, not replace it, and things of that nature. So that goes with mental constructs first before we even start seeing it in reality. Natural ways of thinking. You see what I'm saying? Now there's a bunch of ways that you may think that's unnatural that you think is natural at the moment. And you're gonna start going through a flushing system of those also and stuff like that. Now, one of the reasons why 2025 was everybody's worst year and stuff like that, or per se wasn't able to get your 1-2 how it usually be. So it probably was this calm, cool, and collected and stuff. But you even had to question yourself a lot. What is you actually doing? Having to compare and contrast and join into a new thing, all the way down to it's inevitable. A lot of these celebrities and stuff like that that became podcasters, you think they had a lot of like conversations with themselves, like, is this the right decision? A lot of them that came out their mouth derogatory towards these type of things and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Everything is going through a little washing machine cycle. Even in that aspect, if you want to be the type of individual that already got a career and you don't want to like kind of hear what I'm kind of saying, what I'm saying is actually the explanation of those long talks you had with yourself and other people, your handler, the round table of individuals that you got as your team and stuff like that, to even make that decision to be like, yeah, I think we should go for this podcasting thing or whatever the case may be. Because, you know, if you had a well, healthy running career, you wouldn't care about podcasting. But see, it ain't just you. It's the system you a part of. It wasn't their planning either. They're going through the same thing you're going through. Everybody having to kind of figure it out in some way, shape, or form. Just some people may be a little ahead than others due to the fact of what we're calling what's ahead. That may be money in certain areas or health in certain areas or certain situations in other areas. But for the most part, we're all going through the situation to the point that you can't even throw too much of those things around. You throw too much of those synthetic things around, you'll realize and get struck by esoteric lightning real fast in a hurry to make yourself realize that those things don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You see how red pill getting hit and stuff like that. They're starting to realize a lot of the things that they talking about don't even matter. Even if you was in a mind state thinking that it mattered and stuff. We just going through a new shift. So for the most part, when we start to talk about the old ways of thinking, the old ways of correlating our relationships, the old ways of piggybacking how we conduct business, the old ways of thinking about religion, and all these things is going to a shift and going back to where they used to go, how they used to be thought or how they was thought of in the first place. So you may even find yourself looking at your current religion or current relationship or current way of conducting these things, your current business and stuff, and start to look at these things like it's something that you ain't even doing. And is you even doing it? Is it even worth anything? Is it even a point to do these things at all? So you might be in some type of situation where you might start lessening it up, giving these things energy. You might start not giving these things as much motivation as you used to and stuff like that. And try not to do that to the people that you care about and stuff, because you're just going through a phase. You're just going through a little shift. But you actually comparing and contrasting to see what's actually is beneficial or not, because your spirit is actually showing you that the things that you're actually confined in is no longer useful. And your spirit is going to actually start to see that a lot of the things that you got in your life currently came from the things you was confined in. And if you're going to be releasing some things, that comes with it, extra baggage, aka the people you're around, the places, the things you was entertained by, a lot of your biases and stuff like that. These is going to be things that you start to look at like it ain't no problem with these things, but why I can't correlate with these things the way I used to? Why I can't relate to these things the way why I don't feel the same when I do it and stuff like that. It's dried up. It's going through a dried up system. We went through a new washing, a new cleansing of water. That's like consciousness, new clouds. It take like 300 years for a whole new cycle of clouds. You do this on a micro scale, right? Anytime you have a natural illness, you can cure yourself naturally. So that's like if you cut yourself, your body heals itself and things of that nature. So anytime you have something that you need extra assistance to heal, you don't have a natural illness or whatever the case. Now that's just on a micro scale, right? Now it does this on a global scale also. So the collection of our thoughts and feelings is the clouds, is the sun. You're mixed in these things, pardon me. So if you want to think that that's pseudo or whatever the case may be, right? Let's make something physical. You wouldn't think you need a coat during wintertime if wintertime didn't show examples of being cold temperature wise. And you don't know what temperature is. You just know you experiencing something that's distasteful and you experiencing something that's a more easy pleasing warm temperature for your BTD, body temperature disorder. Other than that, we just calling it temperature. But these things come from temperament. So when you understand temperament, that's a sentiment, a collection of sentiments, and then we react and respond to it. This is why it don't matter even if it's cold. When you was a little kid in junior high, y'all all had to bunch up in the cafeteria before homeroom and things of that nature in the first period. Y'all all start the horseplay and stuff like that and take y'all coats off because it's starting to get a little hot. You know what I'm saying? Because all y'all minds start working, then that bend in and become adrenaline, then all y'all bodies start to take the actions about that. Then the next thing y'all know, y'all horse playing and stuff. So before after y'all took off y'all coats, but y'all was just cold getting off the buses and walking and stuff like that if you live close by the school. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've been through all that stuff. I'm saying I used to look back at life. I was always intelligent though. I was always intelligent. So I always had that mind frame. Even when I would go to school and stuff like that, I was getting hot. You know what I'm saying? So temperament create temperature. So when we start to think about the molting that we was going through, anytime there's a new shift, there's a gas. Then it condenses and becomes a liquid. Then it becomes solidified. Then it was solidified, that's when it's in that drying process of the washing machine. So the last time it did that was in the 1700s. Piggybacking off late 1600s and things of that nature, because that would be probably like 14 generations ago. So, and this not just talking about America, this everywhere, right? China, India, Africa, Brazil, everywhere, Peru, whatever you want to call it, Ghanaian, right? There's a certain surge. So when any ideology that was created 300 to 350 years ago, right? And it's always a cycle. For some reason, we cling on to thoughts and feelings for 300 years. I don't know why it's like that either. I know why. Because when you think about it, right, 300 years ain't nothing but like 3 to 4 grandmothers and stuff. We're not talking about we're talking about the grandmother, grandfather energy itself, not including the grandmother and mother. You see what I'm saying? So when you think about an individual could live close to 100 years, right? So when people are having an ideology and a group of their people and their descendants, it's coming up under that concept, right? It's easy for something to, even if it's in a weakened stage, to still be at a strong instant for a good 300 years and stuff like that, because that's only one person, then they child getting ready to uphold it. So that's one grandmother, then the child getting ready to uphold it and everything that they come with. Then that become the next grandmother for the next 100, from the child that they have. Then after that, that become a mother. Then the child that they had, the next grandmother. Boom, 300 years. Right? So for the most part, once you get into that sector and stuff like that, then that's when we get into that washing machine cycle when it's inevitable. Either something go back to normal, even if you totally forgot what you was doing, or whatever that you doing, because you was upholding it, now has to be updated. And it's no longer useful anymore in some way, shape, or form. So those are the only two shifts that we're in. And you're going to be able to see that now, because I don't want to get into no bias. I have a list. I was going to get into some bias and stuff like that, but now I want to keep this neutral. And this goes for everybody too. You know what I'm saying? You can have a victimhood. Now, a lot of people got some victimhood stuff going on right now. You can have an extreme victimhood type of mentality that you have collected. And if this part of early 18, 17, 1600s or whatever the case may be, it's not going to work in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? All the way to the point that somebody might debunk you and say that you ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind. We're going through that time where we at a beginning stage. You got to start something. And you got to lead by example. And whatever you do right now, going to be the new way of how everybody conduct business. A new way how everybody look at religion. A new way how everybody look at politics. A new way how everybody look at education. And a new way how everybody look at business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. I don't know which one I left out. Yeah, politics. So here's the thing. These things ain't even what we doing. You know what I'm saying? These entertainment just means what you are attracted to based upon a person's talent, gift, or what we all can involve ourselves into to enjoy ourselves. Entertainment doesn't necessarily have to be called entertainment. Politic, constructing something so we can have some type of fashionly order or whatever we're conducting, especially when it comes to culture. That one's going to vary and be vague a little bit and things of that nature, especially when it comes to one ideology being an umbrella over everybody's culture or something like that. So that's something that's going to need to be worked out. Also, when it comes to education, right? The education going to be a filtering system. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to look at the current education system and not see the benefits or the worth of it and stuff like that. So education going to have to be updated, because the things we're being educated on is only going to go two routes. You're either being institutionalized or you're being taught to be in a position that you actually be sufficient for your own life and help your people and stuff like that. So schools and education systems going to be more grounded and based on how people can support and help their own people, because it's too much of a melting pot over here in today's time. So it can't be no umbrella. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some type of way where a person know how to be vague and be a teacher, but the school itself is teaching everybody how to go back home and be an individual amongst their culture in some way, shape, or form. And if that can't be, you still gonna have stabbings in schools. You still gonna have gangs in schools and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Like when people got a culture and they're amongst their people and things of that nature, and it's something that's a regiment, right? There's no time to be amongst a melting pot. Even if you is amongst a melting pot, it have to create some communion. When you create a communion, that's where gangs come from. That's where cults come from and stuff like that, right? Where one trying to get over on the other, but y'all all around each other. And eventually they ain't gonna do nothing but lead into backstabbing anyway, because y'all ain't the same people, right? So it really ain't about being around your own people. It's about, we have to create a different system, and we are going to be a melting pot. We have to create a different system. We have to create a system for melting pot, not a system that works. Because look, here's the thing. Y'all would be like, well, Asians don't go through certain things Americans go through or whatever the case may be. But also in Japan, they ain't no melting pot. You see what I'm saying? So once upon a time, people only had to decipher between different tribes of amongst their own people. So when you get into Europe, they only had to separate from Irish, German, you know what I'm saying? Here, the tribes, Asia, the Filipino, and you know what I'm saying, and all that, Japan, and Japanese, and Africa, all the tribes and the Arabs that y'all was mixing with and stuff like that. And based upon the landmass, Arabs could have possibly been in one area. Egyptians could have been, you see what I'm saying? Somalians. But when we start to mix in and stuff like that, right? And start to get into a situation where now people had to start, because that's how it was here. First is just deciphering from geographical location and have to figure out how to come together. So that's what the 100 no Shuni did, and expanded out and things of that nature. But other than that, it's just deficiating amongst your own people. Once other races is introduced in other continents, now you get this concept of thinking like, well, do everybody who the same people gotta, because you ain't even looking at it like the same people when you just deciphering it amongst just, now we have to look at it like the same people, but once upon a time it wasn't like that, you know what I'm saying? But once Europeans introduced sea travel and all this other type of stuff, now thoughts came into existence. Do just a whole group of the same people have to come together for some type of thingy or whatever the case may be. But eventually that wasn't the thing particularly pertaining to continents. In Europe, they was fighting each other. Over here, we was fighting each other. Africa, y'all was fighting each other. And Arabs, when they start crossing boundaries, trying to do what Genghis Khan and them was doing. And the Asians kicked it off. Asians kicked off everything. Gunpowder and everything in that nature. Now, here's the thing. Let's get into 2025 and why 2025 possibly could have been the worst year for a lot of individuals and things, or you've been experiencing a lot of new things. Now, when it comes into the old times and 300 years and 14 generations and cycles and stuff like that, you also are experiencing you being born into a lot of things that's already being outdated and you ain't had nothing to do with. So now your spirit is also looking around to see what can you involve yourself in, or what are you involved in, and things of that nature. So you can be more sophisticated. Then you're going to start seeing a lot of the ways that relationships was conducted You currently been in those type of circumstances, and this is why you've been unsatisfied. And now the things that you've been blaming the unsatisfaction on has nothing to do with the individual, but yet you've been manifesting a lot of experiences with the individual, making it appear to be that way. So there have been a lot of funky arguments y'all been having with y'all partners, y'all relationships, y'all marriages and stuff like that. And there have been a lot of separations, unnecessary separations y'all been needing to have throughout 2025 that was irregular. Like it was like a lot of stuff that y'all was going through in 2024, 2023, the same as 2025, but some reason 2025 made something change, made y'all act different. So a lot of relationships changed in 2025, even when y'all was doing the same thing y'all was doing in 2024, 2023, business-wise and stuff like that. A lot of the business attributes that y'all was doing, and especially when it comes to white collar, blue collar, entertainment and stuff like that, a lot of these tactics was created early 1800s. So it's a lot of like rhetoric or mind witty banner that you know was useful, and you can't do it now, especially if you play basketball. It's certain old tape recorders you probably was watching Michael Jordan do and stuff like that, and for some reason you do it now and ain't as cool. It can't come across right, or it's always some butthurt energy, or society is flipped over, or something like that, or whatever. And you looking at it like, wait a minute, what was different in these years, or whatever the case. So it's the same thing. It ain't. It ain't. It might have been some procedures going on during these times that whatever was created in the 1700s, whatever like that, was still rooted in. So it was easily convincible. It was easily a lot of spirits not even caring to see what their spirit is connected to, what their spirit ain't, what this used for. For an example, you might even see Shaq back in those days, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, and certain logos and stuff like that, right? In those times, small percentage scale, not even a lot. Ain't nobody about to question, man, F Nike, or whatever the case. Let that happen now. Before Michael Jordan can even come out and just smile, right? And got on some big old goddamn 19 size Jordans on, whatever the case may be. First thing in your mind is, why we can't sell our shoes? You know what I'm saying? It's like that. Your spirit is like looking in business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics, but also you trying to do those things in those ways haven't been working, but you ain't been seeing it that way. So it's just like you going extreme, feel like you're working hard for no reason. And your spirit creating situations to get out these things, but make your current situation look worse without these things. So it's like a confusing. So if you haven't been going through the worst year, you've been going through a confusing one, especially when it comes to your relationships, especially if you're a celebrity or whatever the case may be. I mean, half of the individuals, half of your entourage, you probably didn't change. Ask Justin Bieber. Trust me, a lot of us don't know these people's personal life. I swear, if you knew these people's personal life and you knew what I know, and you close to God, people been going through hell. Your favorite artist, musician, comedian, whatever, these people been going through hell. Actor, actress, you better believe it. Ask Cardi B. They could put on a smile all they want, because you've been going through hell too, though. No, don't get it twisted. I've been going through hell. I ain't excluded. The people you even think doing stuff to everybody, man, they've been going through it in their way too. Ain't nobody gonna come out and explain it. People been going through hell. 2025. It's something about 2020. And I know y'all want to get into, oh, it's 9 because it's number 9 do represents, you know what I'm saying, transitioning. I'm a number 9 individual and stuff like that. But that comes from a practice piggybacking off interactions that go into the 700s, 1700s too. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, you got to be careful attaching too much to that, because you'll get a confusion and start thinking that you have to do something based upon an idol worship kind of concept. And it really ain't got nothing to do with 9 either. Because this ain't really the ninth year either, or whatever. 9. Somebody named this 2025 or whatever the case may be. So you got to think about the Gregorian calendar, and anytime there's a rulership, somebody start their beginning of a year then, or whatever the case, and then the history of it is just when they was creating something or doing something, or a monarchy or something like that. So that's when we start to talk about years or whatever the case, and date wise. But for God wise, there is days, months, and years we keep track of and stuff like that. But That's just knowing the sun cycle and the moon cycle and stuff like that, and knowing that there is a year, not specifically when humans start doing certain things. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're coming to right now. So we're coming to a conclusion of a dried up cycle. So you went through a new washing machine or a new swimming pool as a spirit. The thoughts and the feelings that you was dry in, soaking wet. You got to get out those clothes or whatever the case may be. A lot of these are clothes y'all like. Shirts you didn't want to get rid of. A lot of y'all hoarders and stuff like that. So you keep a lot of things because you give it other meanings and stuff like that. And that's what 2025 is showing you. It's not that these things that you want to keep around is a problem, but it's just where you got these things from is the problem. Or it's really not a problem, it's just where you got these things from. It's going through a transition and it's wet too. AKA, you got these from the ideologies of the 17, 18, and the early 2000s. And I mean, not the 2000s, but the 99 and 2000s, right? So there was a lot of, for an example, you gonna have a different ideology of thinking what you need to do to get into sports, to get if sports even still survive. You know what I'm saying? Boxing might be eventually the most broadest one. And like a lot of things get ready to change. Like it's like the universe is pushing people to make up a new sport, make up a new industry, make up a new concept. And let's say you're holding on to something, but you don't know or you don't think it got something to do with what I'm talking about. You're going to be one of the frustrated people. You're going to constantly keep going through worse stuff when it comes to your relationships, your spiritual system, your morality, how you conduct yourself, and knowing what to do right now. There's a lot of elders right now that you had never thought before and stuff like that, all the way to your mama, who think they might need to make a TikTok, or who think they might need to make a YouTube, or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? But it's not just because YouTube. It's not just because of this. There's even a vibration into everybody going through this cycle. So the individuals who was funding things to support what we call creating jobs, they going through something. So a lot of them got lazy and started to piggyback on this technology type of way. So everybody is being forced to be on this, and then they're making ways to make money off this, but it's truly everybody in limbo. And lazy a little bit too. But it's truly everybody in limbo in some way, shape, or form. And there ain't going to be too many other ways to make money. So it ain't just that. It's just going to be everything is changing. So it's like we're at a back at a beginner stage of when things kick off, but we have to know how to not steer it to negative portions, because we always end up doing that in the middle. 150 years in a washing machine cycle, we get crazy. We get toxic. We get retarded. People already had these ideas a little bit right now, but it's just a starting point. Chill out, get sophisticated, and know that you ain't the only one. Because a lot of y'all get in spookism. Y'all might be like, well, the powers that be or this, that, and the third. Man, they're in hell just like everybody else. Everybody need answers. Everybody need God right now. Don't leave nobody out of that. Nobody more powerful than nobody. People might got more access than other people, but everybody got a personal life. Y'all forget that. Everybody got family. Everybody got friends and stuff like that. And what I'm talking about right now is inevitable. No one escaped this. I don't care how much money you got. Look what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein and stuff like that. It don't matter if he alive or he quote unquote died and we ain't know about it. But when he died, he was still, you know what I'm saying? These things don't matter. It's like, even if you want to practice that Machiavelli stuff, because that's a real thing. Don't think it ain't people doing that. You see the outcomes. You probably somewhere looking at it like, man, I'm doing this for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, you got people like me back here and stuff like that. So you attach to old spirits and your lineage and stuff like that. You question this stuff right now. So if you did some dumb stuff that might have made sense in the 1800s, it's like it feel phony now. So any practicing that Machiavelli stuff, you and made everybody believe you dead. You probably watching this right now like, man, I've been feeling like this for a couple of months, man. It's dumb. I'm doing this for no reason, for real. This phony. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. I'm telling y'all, it's phony. You ain't the only one, man. That's what I'm saying. Ain't nobody even got a lie right now. We going through a new shift. Everybody should just be more free right now, for real. So we can all just make it up as we go like we did before and stuff like that. Just learn and work together in some way. It's about to be new structures and all kind of stuff. But Everybody going through a little transition, even if you in a good beneficial position than other people and stuff like that. You looking at stuff like, man, wait a minute, it ain't even gotta be done this way. Everybody's seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Even if how you dealing with y'all marriages. Red Pill somewhere sitting around like it ain't even gotta be done this way. Red Pill been getting they butt whooped 2025. Red Pill was the stuff for those people. 2024, 2023. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like that wasn't on everybody's algorithm and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Thank God they created yeah, don't ever recommend this channel or stuff like that, because I exercise my rights real good on YouTube. I exercise my rights real good. I exercise my YouTube rights real good. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Other than that, but yeah, they was lit 2024. They was lit 2023. Ask them how much money they made 2025. You know what I'm saying? Ask me how much money I made offline 2025, and I ain't even red pill. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you go down the line on content creator. Go down the line of Tasha K's, the academic. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nothing as sweet as 2024, 20. You know what I'm saying? If we want to get practical with it. Go ask all the shields, you know what I'm saying? Everybody online, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, all the regular content creators, all the skateboarders, everybody, all the teach you how to melt bread, it don't matter what it was and stuff like that. A lot of that without the TikTok almost wasn't American. You know what I'm saying? TikTok almost was a place you can't go on if you live in America. You know what I'm saying? 2025 got tricky for a lot of people and they businesses and stuff like that. You think TikTok wasn't thinking about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute, we about to get that American revenue? Hold on, wait a minute. Trump, what's going on? Let's do this deal. You know what I'm saying? You think that wasn't going on and stuff like that when we took a whole week that without TikTok? It was like a whole week or a day or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody started looking at it like, wait a minute, I don't like how my bank account might start looking. Trump. You know what I'm saying? And Trump got it done. But you know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of spooky things going on in 2025 for people and their businesses. Not just you. Not just you gotta think about other people. You see, you ain't thinking about that. Yeah. People who run TikTok are humans. You know what I'm saying? Who just some scammers, some, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in business. You know what I'm saying? So y'all be getting too spooked out sometimes. Some of y'all be too religious and stuff. You be forgetting. People run businesses. And they want their bread. You know what I'm saying? Or TikTok would have been disappeared from America's goddamn online new soil. You know what I'm saying? Somebody looked at the future. It's like, I don't like how our bank account look at the future or something like, get on the phone with Trump. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think about certain stuff like that. Y'all be thinking about yourselves too much. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all ain't had no good luck in 2025 either, stuff like that. But this is a transition. It's a ushering into a new thing. A lot of the stuff y'all was clinging on to was thought forms that you get ready to start looking at like, man, I'm pleasing people I don't even give a damn about. Like a lot of y'all about to start, it's like stuff can't nobody see. You can't see either, but we all got this ability to think. And you better start looking at these. You better start looking, why am I acting? Why do I let that bend in and become blood flow and I actually move my elbow because that person, because how they think? Oh, you gotta go really start questioning these things. Like all these things might be things you start questioning now, and everything gonna change. And you're not gonna care about that energy that made you not change. You know those little thoughts, some little spider thoughts that come in and be like, but I don't want to cause no animosity. But I don't want to call. You about to start looking at that like that ain't even no animosity. You about to start even looking at stuff you wasn't even paying attention to before. This person never cared about that. You gonna start seeing that. You never seen it before. You gonna start seeing how no one ever gave a fuck about you. I said a lot of times you wasn't seeing these things. You were looking past these things. Like, I still need to move my left kneecap this way because I don't want to cause no. And then you're gonna start seeing this gonna be a new shift. You're gonna start seeing like, wait a minute. Nothing stopped their elbow from moving that. What about my front? You know what I'm saying? You might start looking at it real quick and be like, wait, nobody give a fuck. I'm gonna be myself. And you're going to start seeing God put you in better relationships, better friendships, and better all kind of stuff like that. But right now, y'all just all lost in the sauce. But we all going through a different transition because here's the thing. You can't even count on your religion like that right now. Your grandmother, your auntie, everybody going through a shit. It's like we went through too much to show us that it don't even do that no more. You know what I'm saying? Them prayers don't even do that no more. Them thought processes don't even work that way no more. We thought it worked. We thought something happened the right way because we thought the way before that happened, or we prayed or something. It's like we go through these situations now. Like we thought that it wasn't really that. It was like everybody, your auntie, getting way too much common sense right now. You think the preacher man ain't about to be calling your auntie like 24/7? Like, yeah, Miss Bertha, you ain't been in church up there for a couple hundred days. You know what I'm saying? You been for a couple of days or whatever. No, I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Your auntie gonna start saying, oh yeah, it's church in the household. You know what I'm saying? Whole change of thought. So we going back to normal times now. But here's the thing. If you a person that been upholding, and we all been going through the shift, you just have to know it so you don't take these things too harshly. There's a lot of things you have developed from things that you had to think a certain way and act that certain way to obtain these things. And when you was getting these things or going about it or getting these titles and these statuses and stuff like that, right? It seemed like it was the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? All the way to that college degree that your mother thought was cool and stuff like that. Until you just realize you're just in college debt right now and there's no job in your location for that expertise. So you even looking at it like, yeah, I just got that degree because my mom and shit. Like I say, and your mother just looking at it like, I just told this little bastard that because I thought it was the right thing to do, and I ain't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's everybody coming, everybody coming to like some ill realization. It's gonna be messed up for certain people, and it ain't like everybody ain't been going through this already in 2025. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people who done spent 7 years of their life 7 years ago, fresh out of getting into college to be a student teacher or whatever like that, just to get 2016 all the teachers online on YouTube now. I said a lot of people like that. A lot of people hopes was high, and the things that they start to do, the world we in, that wasn't a hope that was high no more. You know what I'm saying? Ain't a high hope no more. That hope ain't on a high horse no more. You didn't work that hard to get on like something that ain't at a high horse no more. You know what I'm saying? It's like phony though. You didn't work that hard to get in that relationship, it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? You didn't spend all that money on that person just to go broke, that person breast thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be all kind of stuff going on. And stuff. Like, it's like y'all got to deal with it right now, though. A lot of y'all had promising relationships that y'all had. It's crashed. A lot of jobs and stuff like that. Even look at AI struggling right now. AI trying to be a new hustler. AI on the corner block right now. AI trying to sell bricks. AI somewhere, a dope dealer right now, trying to sell drugs or whatever like that. AI done got into selling suspensories or something like that. So you got to go through some type of application or something like that for you to have a suspensory or something. You know what I'm saying? Even AI fell in. You see what I'm saying? AI thought they was about to get online and boom or something like that. Nope, it's a whole different shift right now. Now AI got to get it how they live. AI got to start making images on a block now. AI got to take it back to the streets. AI got to start coming out with DVDs now and stuff like that. Back into the block. Oh, for that. Oh, for that. AI got to make our jobs easier going back to the block now and stuff and getting the real essence, the real creativity and stuff. That's messed up. That's messed up. 2025 was a smack in the face for everybody who had a plan. It don't matter what it was. You could have had a plan. It got destroyed. People could have had a plan to destroy you. They end up having their own problems. A plan could have had a well-oiled running machine that was getting ready to go. It didn't quite go the right direction. Man, that's for everybody. Y'all marriages, y'all business. I swear to goodness, everybody. Don't act like it ain't. I don't care what nobody talk about. 2025 was the worst year for everybody. I don't care what nobody talking about. I don't care. It slowed down for everybody. Even everybody. I don't care. Y'all can try to blame it on people all you want. Whoever you blame it on. They went to it. Mary Magdalene, Joseph, Muhammad, you know, everybody had a slow year and stuff like that. Even Jesus started slipping through the water and stuff. Jesus wasn't even walking on water that good and stuff like that. It started singing. I was like, oh, I'm getting away from these. I say even Jesus started. You know what I'm saying? Even Jesus, like, I think I'm sinking. I'm falling. I can't get up. I start listening to DMX and stuff. Like, I think I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up. I'm out there. Oh, shit, Jesus, I'm getting away from these niggas. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. People starting to realize, forget a church. Forget a school. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people waking up right now. It's like a lot of people like, I just put all my money and my effort into something that ain't make no sense. A lot of people looking at stuff for no reason right now. A lot of people. You gotta keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully you ain't, waste your money in no church, no school. Saying things of that nature, no marriage. You about to start looking at your marriage like, oh, I got this monkey from the Walt Disney. Even though Walt Disney had nothing to do with it. It's just like we was watching Walt Disney and stuff, and we seen Wizard of Oz, we seen Cinderella and stuff like that. We seen Muppet Babies on Ice and stuff. Like we seen a lot of stuff, so a lot of stuff was good. Also, a lot of stuff we thought we was doing the right thing and stuff like that, and you just gotta wake up and get slobber on the side of your face, some smack monkey. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think right now, like, did I make the right decision and stuff? Look, I want you to know it ain't your fault. You thought, everybody thought, you ain't alone. It ain't just you woke up one day and you was like, I make the wrong mistake. No, it was the right choice at that time. We just at an end stage right now. We're going through a whole new washing machine cycle. Your spirit just said it wasn't ready. Just say that like Kevin Hart. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. That's all you gotta say. You know what I'm saying? Just start getting yourself together so you can be ready for this new shift. And even if you got to hurt somebody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you got to, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and straggle it. You know, a lot of y'all are even looking at y'all businesses and y'all jobs like y'all want to go cold turkey and stuff like that. And be like, man, I just want to go ahead and take what I already got and go ahead and start this new thing. We had a free fall, and which we actually is. You know what I'm saying? We had a free fall right now, but you have to make sure you sophisticated. Like I said, a lot of people have been crippled 2025. So a lot of things that they was getting a 1-2 on that was sufficient in 2022, 2023, they had to kind of survive off what they obtained 2024 through the whole lens of 2025, which ultimately makes an individual cripple and things of that nature for 2026. So a person ain't really got nowhere else to go but up for 2026. Now, a lot of people have been experiencing that, especially when it comes to their relationships, when it comes to not even being in no business, but just having a job and stuff. And pardon me, a job not being about nothing in today's time in America, and the dollar being inflated and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a whole bag of chips that ain't even large no more. A big bag of Lay's large used to be 99 cents and stuff like that. Now they didn't downsize like that, and they the size of a goddamn Whopper Jr. or some goddamn shit like that. They'd be like $3 and shit like that. $2.29. Last time I checked, ain't that's a McDouble or something like a Whopper Jr. or something. You know what I'm saying? You get a little bag of chips for a Whopper Jr. price. That's like, what's going on? For a supreme hard taco price, a chalupa and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, think like things ain't right and stuff. Like the dollar ain't went down to dirt. Dollar to the point that you find yourself buying food every day. Even if you go grocery shopping, you find yourself having to pay for food every day and stuff like that, and things that so because something went down, even groceries and stuff like that. You don't get the same amount of stuff that you used to get. It ain't the same. There ain't the same amount of bread that's supposed to be in there, man. I think I wish people used to start counting the loaves 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because now I think they'd have switched it up, man. That made the same amount of the bread pieces on the loaf. You know what I'm saying? I think they'd have downsized it. It's like it's missing about 4 or 5. I swear. You know what I'm saying? I gotta really pay attention to these things. Like the price go up, the value go down. You know what I'm saying? The price go up, but you getting like 5 less slices of bread and stuff, 5 less slices of cheese and stuff, 5 less slices of goddamn like bologna and salami. I don't think I gotta go off the camera for that. But yeah, don't go no further than that. You know what I'm saying? So y'all gotta really peep game. It's like, wait a minute, man, where everybody money going? You know what I'm saying? It's going down the drain, down the toilet, just like the dollar bill and stuff. So everybody been paying attention to that. You could be like, have a whole lot of money and just feel like you're doing stuff for no reason. You know what I'm saying? You like a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of people with money right now find themselves cooking for themselves, not even paying for chefs, eating stuff, especially cats in jail and stuff like that. These cats get out, especially if they became rappers and stuff like that. These cats still eating jail meals and stuff like that. They ain't spending no money on no expensive meals and stuff like that. Ain't nobody really too much into these things. You know what I'm saying? Because people starting to look at these things like, man, I ain't got nothing to do with it. My family ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't getting no get back off of it. I'm actually making somebody else rich or something like that. Ain't this what I'm complaining about? And we don't want too many people get too far into that, because then that's going to start going into whole other areas and stuff like that. So we want to make sure we keep everything peaceful, everything modest, but we is at a beginning stage. And don't let what 2025 have crippled you and to become more motivation for frustration and you being negligent and degenerate and stuff like that. Let that be motivation for you understanding we in a limbo stage right now. You could do something that pop off the next day or whatever the case may be. Or you could present something at your business or whatever like that become a whole new protocol that we do for the next 300 years. We at that time right now. So it's going to play out in early stages. What you do right now, you may find yourself being like, all right, I'm about to do this for the next 5 years. It's about to be that simple. You couldn't really do that before. especially 2020, 2016 and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? When people was trying to quit habits and stuff like that, it's about to be seen totally different now. And you about to be adding attributes. Your spirit actually feel like it's less than without adding something. And the reason why it's that way, because what you was already in is no more. It went through a shift. Your spirit is naked now. You no longer could feel just comfortable. You no longer could feel content. You no longer could feel like you in a safe zone. Even if you already practicing some type of safe zone energy. A lot of people got family, lineage, bank accounts and stuff like that, prepared for them and stuff like that. That's secondary. Where 7 to 10 years ago that might have been first and things of that nature, especially now. Right now, that's secondary. And you can blow all that. If you're on the wrong side of energy right now, you could be born already into a family that they got you set up sweet and stuff like that. And you the first person out the lineage get ready to blow it, crash it out, or whatever the case may be. So that's why I'm saying I need everybody to calm down, chill out, relax. I know it was a hard time for 2025, such as myself too. I was gonna break down some personal stuff, and I was gonna break down probably a lot of personal, but I wanted to keep this vague and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's supposed to be about good spirits, and I want everybody to go into the synthetic new year and stuff like that, and some positivity and stuff like that. But I do want to give an explanation to what you have been experiencing, so you're not taking them same funky energies, flunked out energies into 2026 and things of that nature. Because one of the reasons you're in those energies in the first place, because whatever you've been doing have been cultivated from things that's outdated now. And it ain't your fault. A lot of these things was created in the 1700s. A lot of these things was created in the 1800s. You're just running off a template right now based off survival, geographical location, where you live, your neighborhood, the hood, the suburbs, or whatever the case may be. They was built off these thought patterns. But once we're going through 150 years, 300 years, there's a lot of spirits that went back home to their continent. A lot of spirits here, recycle back, I'm back, and stuff like that. So a lot of the natural thoughts from then, and the reason why these things had to be in the first place, there's not a lot of people to uphold it. And the people who are here, who's coming back here, really wasn't their stuff in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can't really count on me to uphold no American stuff or whatever the case may be. But I love everybody that participate with that. Like, because we're not in those times anyway. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that type of thing. We're all going through something, or whatever the case may be. I have nothing to do with that American stuff in the first place for the American dollar to be inflated. You know what I'm saying? That's something they got to deal with. That's something they got to do, or whatever. That's why we getting this cryptocurrency stuff, I guess, and all this other stuff. But everybody is having to uphold or go through a shift or let go whatever was cultivated for everybody, ethnic groups and races and things, and mixed people, to understand yourself in this new shift right now. And if you're upholding anything that's outdated, you're going to find yourself being the only one that's fighting for it, and your spirit going to be burnt out. Your spirit going to be touching something that's hot and getting ready to, is already in this earth stage, is hot. Leave it alone. And you're going to experience the frustration, but you're going to be looking at it in the shift how you thought it was accumulated in a shift that we're not in no more. So you're going to be thinking it's still something you can get out of it. You're going to be thinking it's still something that worked. And it's going to make you look bad. It's going to make your spirit, your mind, and body that you in look bad. It's no longer going to take its own life, and you could just be the face of it and get the reciprocation. It's going to be you upholding something that even the people who own that intellectual property ain't a large percentage scale of upholding it as much as you. And that could go for business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. So even be careful with certain forms of education. All the way to the point you got me here. We know light don't travel. You could want to sound right because there's history books of people who in science who said light travel, but that will be the only thing you're arguing. The generative principle. Because something was written before something written now, that makes it true. But in reality, you ain't gonna never see light travel. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that. And I'm just using that as an example. You have to be careful with these things. We're going through a new shift where a bum could debunk you. And it's not, don't get into no ego to think about the world is about debunking people and challenging people or whatever. You have to cultivate something right now. And it takes a cult to cultivate a culture. Separate the word cult, get back into culture, because you know how to cultivate your mind and the land. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting back to a stage too where everybody is trying to live around either like-minded people or their relatives. For an example, there's going to be a surge of new up-and-coming realtors into real estate that start to conduct their bills differently based upon just by nature, the evolution of how money is being conducted and now and stuff like that. And it's going to be a circumstance where there's going to be effects that come from that cause, all the way to how you get homes. There's going to be like apartment complexes and things of that nature, and you can't get in them unless you are a family that's concluded, like it's you, your uncle, auntie, mother, father, children, their extension and stuff like that. And those going to be concepts that you have to be involved in for easier accesses to get into this new age longhouses, which is like apartment complexes and stuff like that. That's about to, because right now it's like a lot of spirits about to start to realize this also. Even when it comes into landmass, it's truly like a form of see, the people who created that is not a lot of people here no more. A lot of the spirits that then died went back home, and a lot of the descendants is here and mixed, so they don't have the same motivations. So when you look at streets and blocks, apartment complexes, it's really just multiple different people living in an area, but no landmass was ever created that way. So it's really a person taking the way people was living, capitalizing off of it, and then making money off having just any old multi thingy come in and anybody can live there. But spirits is about to start realizing this is where like urban crime come from after a while, when you just smothered in. So it's not going to be about people just going back to their people. It's going to be, we have to conduct a new situation around Melting Pot. We never created no laws or constructions or religion or nothing around Melting Pot. And then there's only two ways to think over here. Little do y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Which is just native or European. That's pretty much it. And right now, since the Europeans rule, they're the umbrella over everybody, and they brought so many foreigners over here, it can't work even if it tried. Because Hindus going to be doing all this, the East Indians about to be doing all these things. So, but we seeing so many examples of how none of our religions and spirituality is a problem in the first place. Only ego ever been a problem. You know what I'm saying? These things never been problems in the first place. So we're going back at a time where it's about to be like that. We just about to be going through those times too to actually see the starting points when things start to become negative. And why is it negative? You know what I'm saying? Because what we was considering problems ain't problems for real. Like a lot of things we're considering problems, even globally. Every spirit realizing them ain't problems. Even if you had to go through a lot of your own problems to realize it was never a reason for you to protest. We just really realized that 2025 for real, if we want to put it in that lens and things of that nature. But you see what I'm saying? All the way to, you got the people who've been here for 150 years. Like it's still Africans, Americans, right? But they're trying to switch up now or whatever. But you start to realize, no, it's just about timing. But it's the same thing. So you can't even get too lost in trying to uphold how we created nationalities, those terms and stuff. That's going to work against you in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? For an example, let's say if you this FBA thing, right? You're basically just saying me and white people is your father. So you just some offspring of Native Americans and black people. I mean, Native Americans and white people. And trust me, you don't want to go down that line. You don't want to start thinking that. But that's what y'all saying. And I'm trying to tell you that's not true. I'm telling you that's not true. And I'm mixed. I'm not no pure Native American. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to tell y'all that's not true. That's going to work against y'all. Y'all not going to be able to get respiration. And you're going to mess it up for all other African Americans and stuff like that. If you keep going down that road in some way, shape, or form. Because in all actuality, it would be like if you 30% European, you should just claim white, like how Mexicans used to do, certain Africans used to do when white was called the checkerboard thing back in the day. It wasn't the ethnic groups, because France was calling themselves white, British was calling themselves white, the French, the Anglo-Saxons. It was the law that they was creating in government if you was allowed to have um if you was allowed to have a farm and slaves or not, or if you was allowed to do bargain and exchange. Because really, slaves was to look at like that. And farming, all of it was based off bargain and exchange. You either was allowed to be bargaining, you either was allowed to do bargain and exchange, or you was allowed to be bargain and exchange. And that mean you get allowances and you have to work the farm and chattel slavery, or you just certain rights wasn't had in certain areas and certain like that. So when you get like stuff like Hannahstown was a colonial area, right? So for an example, because I don't want people to get lost. When we think about America, really America is really just New York, the Carolinas, Virginia, Florida, after it got taken from the Spain, and like Colorado around the Appalachian Mountains, and then after that, the 13th Fire, Ohio, right? That's the Anglo-Saxons and the Mormons, the Moravians and stuff. And then they went to war with Britain and the French and Spain. So Spain still run the western part of America. You just have to understand they united it with white power. So it's called United States of the Meru, Inca, Mayan area descendants in North America and stuff in Canada. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at it like that. It's just the downsize the Native Americans, and then you got the Anglo-Saxons and Mormons and stuff running the East Coast. And the French, oh, they shooting now. French got beat up by Britain. Because we tried to help the French, but then you just got Britain. So they run Canada and the Midwest and stuff like that, and then you got Spangler man run the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? So America is still brown. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got certain pockets that the slave trade came into. So you have like Mississippi, Alabama, right, when the French start to bring people. Then you have Texas and California and stuff where the Spain start to bring people. And then you had the Carolinas and Florida and New York and Ohio where the Anglo-Saxons and Britain start to bring people and stuff like that. So here where you get Algonquian, because natives interacted with Britain a lot and stuff. You get Sioux because Native Americans interacted with the French and the Spanglers a lot and stuff. You get so I had to conduct the Hebrews and the Creek and all these languages and stuff like that. And then all the things in between. But the lost ones, they ain't really lost. They still speak like me, Catawba Siouan, right? So that'd be formations of East Coast Sioux. So that would be Dakota. No, yeah, Dakota. Then you got Midwest, Nakota. Then you got West Coast, Lakota, and things. And that would be the Sioux tribe families and things of that nature, aka the tribes who wasn't in government, but who had more of their own government. All natives had their own government, but then you have ones who just established more things with Britain and French, Algonquin, Spain, the Midwest Sioux, and getting into that's when you start to get into the Little Bighorn Wars in 1800 and stuff like that. But that I don't even know why I'm getting. But for the most part, like we're just going through a new shift right now. So now we at a time right now where everything is at a beginning. So everybody get y'all mind right, get y'all spirituality right, your morality right, and stuff like that, and don't allow what 2025 crippled you on to discourage you, because whatever is putting you in is forcing you to bring out what you was always supposed to be doing. And you actually could spring off something new, or what you was always supposed to spring off. You just may have been too distracted because the washing machine cycle wasn't done. And that's the 14 generation cycle. So, pardon me. So this is why y'all been seeing things the way y'all been seeing it, reacting to things the way y'all been reacting to it, and not getting the same reciprocation the way y'all been getting it, negatively or positively. Flight boss, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Move. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and responsibilities. Erect the SWAT, he'll hold that yellow hoop, master sew it, mama the toy. I thought I was gonna drop my mixtape the first. Y'all gotta give me like one more week and stuff like that. Well, a couple more days. I gotta mix this right.